reindeer logo. Right under Illinois. Don't want to make it.
During the competitions last time around, and I wore a heart rate monitor too, and I wanted to find out what that would be like in my heart rate just in the adrenaline, and sitting on the back was up there. You guys are pushing probably in the 180s.
It's max heart rate the whole time, yeah, pretty much from start to finish. The guys are at 100%, and you know, for a few of the guys have been running long periods over 100%, you know, which is a little bit frightening at times, but it just goes to show how physical it is, but also what it takes to get out there and win. I mean, it's very, very demanding. Everyone is going to turn up physically prepared, but once again, it's looking for those small little gains to try and just be that little bit better prepared than the other team.
How many days of racing will the Cup competition?
Well, it's going to be a first to 9, you know, race wins. There'll be 2 races a day. So really it depends, you know, it could go the full 17 races, or it could, who knows, it could finish early, and that's one of the exciting things is until we get out there and line up with the potential challenger, we really won't know. And with the Bay, the conditions will constantly change. You know, it'll be like coming out playing the first quarter of football on a wet field, and then it'll be dry, and then there'll be snow, and then, you know, there's so many different conditions out there with this Bay. So I think from a racing point of view, it'll be fantastic for spectators.
Great, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Jimmy, the thing's arrived now, it's all shrink wrapped. What's the process for what happens next with the wing? How long does it take before we're going to see it?
It'll be out quick. I mean, the guys have done a fantastic job down under. They've pretty much, you know, had it assembled. We've got a few guys that have flown up with it from Core Builders that'll put it together. Dave Hurley and some of his guys, and I think the wing will be together very quickly, and you'll see it out in the water. You know, probably early February we'll be out on the water, but the wing should go together very, very quickly.
Okay, and so early February, that's the next question. What's sort of the training program over the next 6 weeks?
Yeah, it's really just to get out in the water. I mean, this time of year, as we've seen, you don't get a whole lot of wind. You know, it's a little bit hit and miss with the weather. As we start to get through to the end of February and into March, it should get a lot better. But any day that looks good for sailing, we'll be out there. We'll be capitalising on it and really trying to put some hours on this wing and the boat.
And the platform is ready to go now?
Platform's pretty much ready. It's together. Still needs a little bit of fit out here and there. But once again, I mean, the guys in here really have dug it in and, you know, just sort of pulled off a bit of the impossible. And you know, we're pretty excited to get out there now, and from a sailing point of view, sort of reward those guys that put all the hard work in.
You've had a little bit of time off, as you said. You'd had maybe some unexpected time off at the end of the year. Have you been able to look a little bit at the competition, start sizing up some of the challengers? What do you see? What's interesting? What's exciting? What's maybe a bit scary?
Yeah, definitely. I actually went down to New Zealand in December, spent a bit of time there watching, and it's been pretty impressive. You know, I think Team New Zealand has done a pretty good job of certainly the foiling configuration. They looked pretty good. Luna Rossa obviously just started the sail when I got down there, or were early on into it. Artemis in the meantime have been out sailing here. So it's great to see all the boats out there. It's interesting because there's quite a bit of difference on design and configuration in the boats. But that's another thing obviously we're looking forward to. It's great to have another, team here for us, and hopefully when we get out in the water we can, see how the 2 boats go.
Great, thanks.
All looks like the package is intact. What's the emotion right now? Relief?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a long way to come for that wing, and until it comes here and gets off the ship, it's just great to see it here. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice from the guys down under, and we're looking forward to putting it together and just trying to reward those guys with getting it all out on the water and getting some good sailing on it.
So you had to accelerate the build process on the second wing. Does that mean it's compromised in any design way? Is it different to how it might have been?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we've sort of had our paths either way, and obviously the big thing that changed was we had to put a lot more labour, and the boat builders really had to put in a big grind to finish it off. And we've seen those guys. We've sort of thrown them in the fire a few times before in the past campaign, and also in the World Series a couple of times. And every time they've answered back and they've delivered. So yeah, it's pretty impressive just seeing how quick they did it and efficiently. And it'll be exciting just to. I think it'll be a big psychological thing for the team to see the boat and the wing back out there again, especially for those guys that put all the hard work in.
So you've obviously had a knockback with the capsize and having to build a new wing. Do you think that's the sort of thing that's potentially going to happen to other teams, and you could maybe leapfrog ahead of them now because you've already been through it?
I'm not sure. Probably the fact that we capsized, it's probably other teams may be more conservative now. But then again, it's like a race car. I'm certainly not going to say it's not going to happen again. Who knows? That's what these boats are capable of. But from our point of view, it was an incredible learning experience. No doubt, it was definitely a setback. We lost a fair bit of sailing time, etc., etc. But we've learned a lot from it. And as a team, we've faced the toughest challenge so far out of any team, from what we've had to go through with all of this. So from a team, we've been fortunate enough to be able to test ourselves and see how we react in a time like this. And luckily had time to react, and now we'll be able to get back out there. So it's been obviously at the time it didn't feel great, but it's been a good test for the team and all the people involved in it to get through it.
So final question, you've been down in the Southern Hemisphere having a look at the other teams. A lot of confidence coming out of those two teams down there who seem to be foiling comfortably and regularly. Do you think it's going to be a foiling cup? Because obviously Artemis have gone down a different route. That those guys are foiling down there on big training courses, but they've got to pull that off, and you've got to pull that off in the confines of the America's Cup course.
It's going to be interesting. I'm not sure, and I don't think anyone's sure yet which one will be faster. It's that's the thing with this bay is there's so many different conditions out there that sometimes it could clearly the foiling may be faster, but no one's really tested it in racing, doing all the manoeuvres, doing the downspeed stuff, upwind. So, it's going to be interesting. I honestly don't know until we line up with another boat, and I think the same, with Team New Zealand and Prada, it's very, very difficult to guess. But, on the other side, that's what makes it kind of intriguing. You really, until you get out there, we won't know.
That's perfect. Thanks for talking to us, Jim.
Yeah, no worries.